Hey everybody, how's it going? So another Venture Brother retro recap. This time the actual first episode of season one, not the pilot. Delos del Muertos. I don't know if I pronounced that right. No habla español. Um. So these are like this is where it's gonna start getting interesting because the pilot is it's so the pilot's weird because on the one hand it's similar. You can see the DNA there, right? You can see the DNA there that will eventually lead to Venture Brothers as we know it. But there's a lot of differences, especially art wise. And so season one is actually where you start to get into traditional animation because it again like from the pilot which aired in 2003 to the fucking actual first episode of season one that fucking goddamn aired a year later. So fucking Venture fans, we've all like that's probably the best thing about Venture Brothers is it's really fucking taught me the value of patience. It really has. So season one's interesting on the because humor wise, it actually holds up pretty well compared to the later seasons. Yeah, I wouldn't say, overall, yeah, I wouldn't say season one is as funny or funnier than seasons three, four, and five. But like, there's some really great fucking episodes here and some really great ideas. But on the other hand, season one is fucking ugly. It really fucking is because it's basically a mixture of flash animation and fucking traditional hand drawn animation. So like the backgrounds are like really bad in season one. Like it just at points it's like remember in Ren and Stimpy when like they would go crazy and the background would go all weird and it would be like splotchy colors and stuff. That's what a lot of the fucking backgrounds in Venture Brothers season one look like. They look like fucking oh shit, Rand's having a fucking crazy manic attack kind of fucking background type shit. And some of the character designs are really fucking off. Like like Doctor Girlfriend, she looks like a fucking watermelon being balanced on a golf cue. I mean, not a golf cue, a golf tee. I got the wrong fucking letter right there. Cause like she has a really huge fucking head, really huge head, and then she fucking has like somewhat broad shoulders, and then it just tapers down to nothing. Just tapers down to nothing. Also, there's a really weird there's like a really weird fucking just like scene where she's talking to the monarch in bed, and she's supposed to be pointing to him, but like she's pointing like this, like you gotta go love those boys. Maybe this is about how you don't talk about your parents and how they died. Man, when I talk like that, I have to have a cigarette. So, her design is really fucking awful. Her voice is also kind of weird in this, because, like, this can sound really weird, but in a way, it's too deep and not deep enough. Like, I don't know how to fucking properly describe the differences between her voice here in season one and her voices in the later seasons. Maybe there's more emotion in those. I don't know. Hank is probably the next one that really stands out because he has the neck of a fucking giraffe. He looks like a bobblehead. Although to be fair, like with some inconsistencies, there are characters who have basically remained virtually unchanged. Doc, Brock, Helper, Dean. Monarch has had a few changes though. Like one joke they constantly make throughout this first season with the Monarch. Well, there's two jokes they kind of make fun of in this season, and eventually they're later dropped. The first one is kind of inconsequential. It's the Monarch has kind of fucked up teeth, and like that kind of goes nowhere. Like sometimes you'll see him and he kind of like bites his lower lip and he's got like these fucked up teeth and shit. I don't want to see anything of that after season one. And the other thing, which is very interesting, Monarch originally wasn't going to be the main antagonist for this show, and it's very funny too because with how they did season one, they literally like they finished the episode the Friday before it aired. That's literally like how close they were cutting this shit. And as they did the episodes, they didn't write them in any specific order. They didn't write, not in any specific order, I meant, they didn't write them in the episode order that they aired. They originally wrote the Underbite episodes first. And it was always going to be Unterbite was going to be the main antagonist of the Venture Brothers. They even make a fucking joke about it in this episode where, the Monarch is talking about Dr. Venture and how he's his arch nemesis, and the boys are like, no, he's never even mentioned you. Like, never. Like, It's like, and it's like, oh, I always thought Baron Unterbite was fucking, Doc's, our dad's fucking villain. So that's kind of weird. But the reason for that is basically they just kind of ran out of things they wanted to do with Baron Unterbite. That's why next season, like, he gets pretty much one episode and it's fucking shit canned. Until season 4, when they were like, oh shit, we've thought of some new ideas we could use Unterbite for. Which I'm glad they brought back Unterbite. Because I like Unterbite. I really do. So, humor, like, artistic quality wise, like, yeah. This episode really doesn't hold a flame to anything in, the latter seasons. But humor wise, there's a lot of good here, honestly. The Monarch, like, trying to form a fatherly relationship with the Venture Brothers is really fucking funny. The whole fucking, like, him wrestling with the boys, and because Hank took off his belt to try to use it as a lockpick, his pants are falling down, and then, like, Doc and Brock crash through the top of the cocoon in Brock's fucking car, and Brock and Doc sees fucking, like, Monarch holding both of his sons, Hank with his fucking pants down, and he's like, what the hell is going on here? That'll actually lead into something. Season 1 actually, arguably, has the best action scenes and the best action sequences of any Venture Brothers season. Like, seriously, like the scene where Brock is just in the car and he's like, they hit me with a van. And he's just mowing down people and the music's going like, it's a really great fucking scene. The fucking scene where they hit him with the van is fucking really great, where he's just charging head fucking first into these fucking guys, into the Monarch's henchmen. They're unloading their fucking little dart guns into him. He's like ripping the fucking darts out, foaming at the mouth, grabs one of them, has a death grip on him. Poor Speedy. He's this close to getting his wings too. Speedy's kind of funny too because he's basically a more high-pitched version of 21. And it's kind of weird too that Speedy wouldn't have had his wings Yet 21, who is fucking incompetent, or at least was incompetent at that point in time in the series, he had his wings. Another weird thing, too, and this is kind of an animation flub, is the voices coming out of the different henchmen like never fucking really match up. Like sometimes like you'll hear 24's voice come out of a henchman and then you'll hear another voice come out of the exact same henchman. In fact, the first time you hear somebody with 24's voice, he has a little mustache. They should have really kept like they should have really had 24 with a mustache. That would look pretty fucking sweet. Let's see. So what else? What is? So yeah, overall, I would say that season 1, episode 1 is definitely an episode worth watching. Oh, I remember now. Like one thing they kind of, and I talked about this in the pilot, and they started to de-emphasize this in this episode, whereas Doc's homoerotic feelings towards Brock. Like, there's still, like, one of my favorite scenes in this episode is when, like, Doc is over the grave of Brock Sampson, where he's like, "Here's my angel, my beautiful angel, now he's dead," drinking the tequila, and, like, because he lost both of his kidneys, he's using help. Like, the fucking shit with helpers, the dialysis machine was fucking great, too. Doc not knowing how a fucking kidney works, too. That really fucking hammered home the fact that Doc is fucking incompetent. Also, another thing that is kind of like glossed over, and it's not really brought up until season 3 again, is Doc being strapped for cash. I mean, it's kind of brought up in season 2, but after season 3 and the Doctor and the Henry Killinger episode, it's pretty much like Doc never really has a get-rich-quick scheme ever again. Also, something else I'm interested in note. A lot of people say Orpheus, Dr. Orpheus, when he was introduced in, I think it was episode 6 of this series, this season, when that was like their first supernatural thing. Well, actually, the Chupacabra shows up in this episode. So it's like technically the Chupacabra was like the first thing to kind of hint at like this isn't just gonna be a straight Johnny Quest fucking parody. Like, we're gonna throw in shit we like. If it's supernatural but we like it, we're gonna fucking throw it in this show. Chupacabras are funny. It's a funny word. Like chimichanga. So yeah, that's overall thoughts. Pretty good episode. Not one of the greatest episodes ever, but a really good, solid episode that really, like, seriously, I remember watching it. I remember watching the pilot too, but I specifically remember watching this first episode of season 1 of Venture Brothers when it first came on and being like, there's something fucking special about this show. I don't know what it is, but something is fucking, this is gonna be something. And it was. It's one of the greatest fucking TV shows ever.